what do we feel bad for McLaren F1 owners? The guy who's have $25 million cars sitting in their driveway, nobody feels bad for them. So when you don't grow up with money, you learn about wants and needs, right? I didn't grow up with money. I learned about what I needed, what I wanted. As you get older, it turns out that the needs are the wants, right? Like it's like, now I need that. I want that. Now I need that. And that's when you start spending money on stuff that you're like, all right, I've got this money. I'll buy this. Ooh, now that money that I was saving for the rainy day, well, you know what? The rainy day is here. And today's video sponsor, Upstart, understands that, and they're here to help. Upstart is the fast and easy way to get a personal loan to pay off your debt all online. Whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating high-interest debt, or funding personal expenses, over 500,000 people have used Upstart to get a simple, fixed monthly payment. Upstart finds smarter rates with trusted partners because they assess more than just your credit score. With a 5-minute online rate check, you can see your rate upfront for loans from $1,000 to $50,000. You can get approved the same day, and you can receive funds as fast as one business day. To find out how Upstart can help lower your monthly payments, visit upstart.com/SSR. That's upstart.com/SSR. I put a link below in the description, so make sure you click on that so they know you came from me. The loan amounts are going to be determined based off your credit, your income, and other factors that you put on your loan application. That's upstart.com/SSR. All right, everybody, Rob Ferretti here, and we're creeping up on Memorial Day weekend, and that thing's going out, and then I've got nothing left, right? In the process of buying a bunch of cars because I need them, and the one car that you see, and I've noted that I'm never going to buy for the rental fleet, is McLaren. Why? We've had McLarens, we've run the course with McLarens, and there's always an issue, and these are my issues with McLaren, and this is how I think McLaren can fix it. And I'm talking about like fixing the brand, and you may be like, there's nothing wrong with the brand. Well, McLaren ran out of cash, and you can also walk up to a McLaren dealership right now and buy a car for under list, which is very different than Ferrari or Lamborghini or any of these other dealerships, even Porsche, that are hurting for inventory. They can't find cars. They can't get enough cars to satisfy the demand. McLaren, they've got them sitting there. Well, the reason for that is that McLarens have not a performance issue because they're awesome. They're probably the best bang for your buck that you can get performance-wise, but they've got big depreciation or big maintenance expense. And I've covered this as to why I don't rent them anymore, because it's not really worth it. There's no return on equity to put all that money into the car and to either lose it in depreciation or lose it in getting one that's already depreciated, have to spend so much in maintenance. It didn't really make a lot of sense. So how can McLaren turn this around, right? They just sold their headquarters for almost $220 million to free up cash to redevelop into the not the racing program, but also like into the brand, into the company. They said, look, we own all this real estate. We need cash. We're not a real estate company. We're a car company. So they essentially sold their headquarters, and they got a 20-year lease from the company that bought it, et cetera, and they were able to free up cash. That's a big thing in companies, is having to juggle and free up cash. Now, what you're looking at is if you fix the maintenance side of things, right? It takes time. McLaren just started making cars again in 2012. They were doing the branded stuff with Mercedes, where they did the SLR McLaren. And prior to that, they were making the F1, and they were racing otherwise. They weren't making street cars. Now that they're making street cars starting in 2012 with the MP412C, great car, but it's really unreliable. And you have to expect that with a brand new, fresh platform for a company that hasn't been mass producing road cars. You have to expect there's going to be reliability problems. And that's cool, but that makes the cars, especially when they're out of warranty, worth less. Now you can go out and buy a warranty and extend it for up to 15 years, but you're signing on to $6,000 a year in like guaranteed maintenance costs. So would you want to do that? Like after 10 years, you spent 60 grand in maintenance on your car. It's more predictable, but at the end of the day, not everybody wants to get involved in that. So until you can make the cars more reliable, which happens in time, right? Because Ferraris weren't always reliable, Lamborghinis weren't always reliable, but come like 2010, around when McLaren started making cars for the mass market, you cross this, I don't know what it was, but I like it. Because Ferraris became reliable, Lamborghinis became reliable, and now you have McLarens that are out there which are performing as good, if not better, than the Ferraris and Lamborghinis, but they weren't as reliable. They've got the doors that go up. They've got all those check marks that get us car guys going, but the cost associated with it is the problem. So in the absence of like instantly making the cars more reliable while you're on the cutting edge of performance, the only thing you can do to fix that would be make it cheaper to fix, because that's a big problem I have with McLaren, is that they're not cheap to fix. Now, if you wanted to revive the market on all used McLarens, and also that would bleed over to the value not depreciating so much on the newer cars because the older cars are worth more, make them cheaper to fix. Don't make parts so expensive. Lose money on them, because that's going to lift up the whole brand. And like, I'm sure somebody's going to be like, I'm an economist and I've been thinking about what you've said. And like, you can argue with me. This is just like food for thought. This is how, if I had McLaren, one of the two ways I would fix it, right? I would make the cars more reliable, which again, just takes more development. And you can either do that by making them slightly slower. That's what Ferrari even did when they put the 430 engine into the Maseratis. They detuned it a little bit. And when you're not running it as hard, it's going to perform longer. It's going to perform, if you're running something at 100%, it's not going to run as long as if you run it at 60%. It's as simple as that. So now you're talking about making it cheaper to fix. Now you're going to have more people buying these cars, and they're like, oh, I can fix a 12C for like whatever. I can do an engine out or a swap or this or that. If it's just labor cost, because you're not going to be able to control labor cost, but if the parts cost is cheaper, if you can get stuff more easily, it's going to bring the values of the old 12Cs up and all the other cars. It's going to make them less scary to buy out of warranty. And the other way I would fix McLaren is, obviously I said reliability, that's just going to come in time, and that will also help prop up the brand. This guy would, and you can't total out a McLaren F1, you know that, right? They're worth like $20 million. I would make more. I would just go and be like, you know what? McLaren F1 version 2. And Gordon Murray's sort of doing this with his T50, but it's not a McLaren. It's not a McLaren F1. It's a center seat configuration. It's got that big fan in the back. It's an interesting looking car. I would just, as McLaren, say, like, look, we need what, $1 billion? All right, let's go stamp out another $10 million a piece for McLaren F1s built in 2022. So you're getting, or even whatever, you say they're built in 2025. Do the Elon Musk and throw it out 3 years. Oh, I'm going to sell you these Roadsters. I'm just going to make them when I get around to it. I mean, I feel like they've been making the Tesla Roadster for a while now, and I don't think they've delivered any yet. And I know they haven't delivered any. But it goes 0 to 60 in 1.1 seconds, which is freaking like, it's like a slingshot, which is crazy. I mean, how much faster? I even said when the cars are doing like 2 seconds or 2.5 seconds, 0 to 60, I'm like, how much faster do you have to go? But I guess the answer is like 1.1 seconds, which is linear induction fast. It's really pretty silly. Now, you're talking, if you stamped out, if you wanted to generate cash, what's that going to do? What do you feel bad for McLaren F1 owners? The guy who's have $25 million cars sitting in their driveway, nobody feels bad for them. And they're not necessarily going to be devalued. It's like Superformance making the Shelby Cobras, right? Are they making the original Shelby Cobras worth less? No, they're making them worth more. And if anything, the guy with the $25 million car is probably going to go get a new one just so he has them both. And then that's going to that's an easy way to sling, and it's going to be the modern day performance. Maybe you make it slightly upgraded across the board, still a manual. Maybe you offer a paddle shift in it. Whatever you want to do to make that car 30 years technology better, I would do, but I would keep it as a McLaren F1. To have a 95 McLaren F1 and then a 2025 McLaren F1, they could sell, even if they made 1,000 of them, 500 of them, 300 of them, and you could proportionately make those prices. I guarantee there's enough guys out there who just need to have everything to sell them at 10 million bucks a piece, and that solves your cash flow. You can keep your business, you can keep your real estate, you can keep whatever you want, and that'll solve your cash flow. So, you want to know how to fix McLaren and what my issues are? Now you know. Rob Ferretti, enjoy your weekend. Thanks for watching. All right, I've got some good news. You know about my other company, Adventure Drives? Well, it just became a lot more affordable for everybody because we now have weekend drives starting at $995. So that's something you're going to want to check out. Our first one's coming up June 12th and 13th, starting at McLaren of Bergen County, going right up to Whistlepig Farm in Shoreham, Vermont, staying in Stowe for the night, and coming back down. So it's going to be a lot of fun. You want to check it out, visit adventuredrives.com and you'll see the trips listed there.